The NFL draft is just 8 days away, so I've decided it's time that I update my mock draft. This is my mock draft 2.0, and the biggest difference is here. We're going to more talk about who were the movers, who moved up, who moved down, who stays the same, but we're also going to be involving some pick trades. I went through, looked at some of the teams that are interviewing guys, seeing the teams that are interested in trades, kind of thought through this process a little bit more. Before we start, make sure you tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m., April 25th. Tune in for the Second and Short Draft Special, the second annual Second and Short Draft Special. This time around, we're doing it live in person, right here in the studio. Me right here, Luke, Colin, Nathan behind the camera, and a couple of friends hopping on the phone lines to talk to us all the way through the draft, the entire first round. Last year, we went 4.5 hours. This year, why don't we make it 5? All I know is it's going to be a great time, and you don't want to miss it. All the updates, all the picks, all the trades, all the news, everything right here on the Second and Short YouTube. Check it out next Thursday, April 25th. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get it started with pick number 1. The Chicago Bears, of course, take quarterback Caleb Williams out of USC. This one's a no-brainer. At this point, he's clearly the favorite. Obviously, he didn't work out of the combine, but he had a great interview there. He's had great meetings with the Bears. Both sides seem like they're all in for it. They're both taking great things away from the meetings, and at this point, it can't go anywhere else than Caleb Williams to Chicago with that first pick. And we've already got a change from my first mock draft. I have Jaden Daniels moving up to number 2, being selected by the Washington Commanders. When he didn't measure at the combine, I thought it might hurt him, but it seems like throughout the interview process, and especially at LSU's Pro Day, he showed out and proved that he should be the number 2 overall pick. I think he's a better fit with the Commanders than most of the teams behind them, and I think for the Commanders, they like him, and they probably like him a little bit more than the likes of Drake May and J.J. McCarthy behind. Now, at number 3, you do get Drake May, but this is the first trade here. I've got the New England Patriots trading down to 11 with the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings take Drake May here. I think they're way too bought in on a quarterback to sit at 11 and hope somebody falls to them. They don't want Bo Nix, but they've got to get a top 4 guy, and I think the Patriots are the most willing to trade back for the best compensation. On top of that, I just can't be convinced that J.J. McCarthy's the better pick. And so if there is a team out there that favors J.J. McCarthy, possibly the Patriots, I see them still trading down because I can't fathom a world where J.J. McCarthy is a better quarterback prospect than Drake May. My number 4 pick stays the same. The Cardinals take Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a no-brainer. I know there's been a lot of conversations about Malik Neighbors, but we can't have another Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud moment. I can't do it to myself. I can't do it to the people for me to change my mock draft a week before the draft just because a bunch of people start talking about another prospect highly. I'm not falling for it this time, so it's Maserati Marv to the Arizona Cardinals. So this one is a little bit weird. I've got another trade happening, and this time the Patriots decide to trade up from number 11 with the Los Angeles Chargers to pick at number 5 and take J.J. McCarthy. Now, I don't know how realistic this really is for the Patriots to trade down and then trade right back up into the top 5. What I do know is that the Patriots can't sit around and watch J.J. McCarthy and the rest of these quarterbacks fall off the board before it gets to them at 11, so they have to trade up, and the Chargers are the most willing team to trade down in the top 5. At number 6, I still have the Giants going wide receiver with Malik Neighbors from LSU. I think he's the right pick here. Because Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board, he's easily wide receiver 2, and the Giants need a pass catcher. Some people have been saying that they're going to try and trade up to get the quarterback. I think it's too early into Daniel Jones' big contract that you gave him to go out and get a quarterback, considering he's not exactly a veteran leader to be ahead of this quarterback. It would be more of a who's going to win this job, and I don't think the Giants are in the position to be benching a Daniel Jones that is getting paid $40 million a year, or to spend this high of a draft pick on a player who's not going to play until Daniel Jones is out the door. At number 7, I've got the Titans taking the top offensive lineman in the class and Joe Alt because they need to bolster the offensive line. With all these changes to this team, new quarterback, new running back, everything is going to change. Beef up the offensive line, give those guys a chance. At number 8, my Atlanta Falcons take Dallas Turner from Alabama. I think he's the right pick now. At first, I wasn't too sure between him and Jared Verse. I think the combine separated the two for sure. Verse is still fantastic, and the upside is certainly there. If you're looking for day one impact, Dallas Turner is the pick. Now, at number 9, I'm not letting Jared Verse get too far away from Dallas Turner. He's still going to get picked by the Bears here because he's a great player. The Bears, some people have been saying they need to focus on wide receiver, but I think after this free agency and going out and getting Keenan Allen, there's no use in getting a wide receiver this early of a pick when you have a defensive line that needs an edge rusher. Obviously, you went out and you've got some strength on that defensive line with Jonathan Allen, but it needs more. The sack numbers were way down in Chicago this past season, and a guy like Jared Verse immediately impacts this team. There's been a lot of questions about where the Jets might go at number 10. I've got them going with Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. I think he's the best available offensive lineman at this spot, and I think the Jets need to go offensive line. Some people want to say that they're going to go wide receiver. I just am not going to buy it. They're going to go offensive line. They're going to go Talise Fuaga. At number 11, this is where the Chargers land after trading out of the top 5 after New England traded them the Vikings pick. Now, the Chargers have a lot of options here. I think they go with Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. I think he's the best option here. And with trading out of the top, you lose out on Joe Alt, but you still get a top-tier offensive lineman in this class, and you continue to add draft capital later into this draft. And with a new head coach and GM, you really want to have a lot of picks rather than just high picks. At number 12, the Broncos take Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. This has been a quandary of mine since I've started writing my first version of this mock draft. I couldn't decide between him and Terrion Arnold. Both of them showed out very well in their pro days and combine, but I'm still sold on Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's a fantastic pair with Pat Surtain. At number 13, I've got the Raiders still taking Terrion Arnold. They still need to address corner. I know some people have been rumoring offensive line. I think corner is so bad. The secondary was a joke. It was a constant topic of conversation on the podcast, and I don't want it to be this next year, so they go for Terrion Arnold because he's the best cornerback on the board. At number 14, and not much to explain about it, the Saints get J.C. Latham out of Alabama. They need offensive line help. It's very clear after how bad the rushing attack was last season. Derek Carr couldn't stay healthy. You need to bolster the offensive line. At number 15, I've still got the Colts going with Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. I thought I reached on this one early on and when I said that he had wicked speed, and that was the biggest asset of his. Well, I didn't think the speed was second best of the combine speed. Turned out to be, and I think he's a fantastic pick for this Colts team. At number 16, I've got the Seahawks taking Troy Fautanu out of Washington. When I first made this pick in my first mock draft, I thought I was kind of reaching on it. Not a ton of people talking about this possible move. Now it seems like everybody's on the same page as me, so Fautanu is going to reunite with his offensive coordinator from Washington. Now at number 17, and I'm surprised he dropped this far, Rome Odunze goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think now at 17, we're in the position where if you pass up on Rome Odunze, you're going to end up being the person that regrets it in the future. The last thing that the Jaguars need is to regret more decisions in their franchise's history, so they pick up Odunze and they replace Calvin Ridley. Now at 18, in my first draft, I had the Bengals going with Odunze. He's off the board, so now they address a tight end problem that became a recurring joke on our Second and Short podcast, and they take Brock Bowers. You can't pass up on a generational talent at tight end, and that's exactly what Brock Bowers is. At number 19, I've got the Rams taking Leatu Latu. Initially, I thought this was going to be a pick where they could just kind of go wherever they like, make a little bit of a Sean McVay pick here. But instead, after the retirement of Aaron Donald, it's very clear that this team needs to bolster the defensive line, and Leatu Latu provides that because he's going to be an impact player right off the bat. There have been questions about his low ceiling, but he's at least going to make the impact as soon as he gets into camp. At 20, I've got the Steelers sticking with Amarius Mims out of Georgia. He's a fantastic offensive lineman, and now with the acquisitions of Russ and Justin Fields, either way it's important to have an offensive line that's built for the future because we saw how well Russ improved after his team invested in the offensive line. And that's what the Steelers do here at 20. At 21, I've got the Dolphins going with Jerzon Johnny Newton out of Illinois. I thought his injury going into the offseason was going to be an issue, but it looks like he's come out in time. It looks like he's doing well, and he flies right back up the board all the way up to 21. At 22, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles going with Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. I think he's one of the best prospects in this class, and with him falling all the way to 22, considering the retirement of Jason Kelce, the Eagles have the chance to try him out at center or just give themselves help at offensive guard. He can do either, whichever one works, but you get that versatility and you get the improvement to fill those holes. At 23, I have Minnesota giving up this pick to the Patriots when they trade up to number 3, and so now the Patriots select Brian Thomas Jr. You get the quarterback with the first one, you get his wide receiver tandem with the second one, and you also get one hell of a wide receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. At 24, I've still got the Cowboys sticking with Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He's a fantastic offensive lineman, and I know that there's rumors swirling that they need to get a wide receiver. But you invest in this offense more with an offensive lineman than a wide receiver at the moment. At 25, I've got the Green Bay Packers going with Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. I think he's a fantastic player. You can underrate him all you want. He's a great corner. He's going to be a great safety if they move him to safety. And I know for a fact that Ty Schmidt from the Pat McAfee Show is going to love this prediction. At 26, I've got Tampa Bay going offensive line and getting Graham Barton out of Duke. He's a fantastic player, and I know everybody's talking about the wide receivers for a lot of these teams. I don't think it's an urgent issue for the Bucs, but I think the offensive line needs to be addressed. You haven't seen a healthy season out of any of their offensive linemen in years, and they're going to need it from somebody. At 27, the Cardinals hold on to their pick despite a lot of trade rumors and take Byron Murphy II out of Texas. Simply put, they've got to improve the defensive line, and Byron Murphy's the best on the board. At 28, I've got the Bills taking A.D. Mitchell out of Texas. Obviously, they need a wide receiver. Some people have said that they maybe go Xavier Worthy. I think they need a wide receiver 1, and I don't think Worthy is that. I think A.D. Mitchell has the potential to be fantastic, and he'll fit in right alongside Josh Allen in this offense. At 29, I stick to my relatively hot take and have the Lions taking Zach Frazier out of West Virginia. The biggest reason why is this is a big-time Dan Campbell pick, and I think Dan Campbell is going to love this guy. He's gritty. He's a West Virginia guy, tried and true. He's going to love him. He's going to fit great in Detroit. At 30, I've got the Baltimore Ravens taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I think he's going to be a bit of a project, but I think with the veteran talent and presence on this Ravens team, now you continue to add pieces, you improve the defense, you improve the secondary, and I think Kool-Aid will work well whether he's at corner or at safety. At 31, I've got the 49ers taking Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. Surprisingly, despite the fact that they're one of the best offenses in the league, they still need to improve the offensive line, especially on the interior. And by the way, Trent Williams can't play forever. At 32, I've got the Chiefs, your Super Bowl champs, taking Xavier Worthy out of Texas. They have to take a wide receiver. If it wasn't certain last time around, it is definitely certain now that they've got to go wide receiver. So I think he's the pick here and rounds out the first round. Make sure that you tune in next week, Thursday, April 25th, for the second annual Second and Short Draft Night Special. We're going all the way through the first round. All 32 picks live here. All the trades, picks, rumors, news, updates, and a whole bunch more right here on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to subscribe to Second and Short. We got new episodes of the podcast coming out Mondays and Fridays. And we've got a bunch of content that we're going to be doing all summer here on the YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and turn on post notifications here. And then hop over to the link tree, find us on all of our social media accounts. Make sure you go to the Reddit, r/2ND short, and submit some questions for questions time. Every Thursday at 4 p.m. is the deadline, and you'll get answered and featured on the newest episode of Second Short every Friday. Thanks for watching. Peace.